Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while now, and that was actually requested in one of my previous videos, and that is to make a keto-friendly lasagna that does not require using a zucchini or an eggplant. Now, you might make it with a typical fathead dough or something else in the place of the pasta, but I figured, you know what? I've been making a few chaffle recipe videos, and so has everybody else. So you know what? I figured, why not make a lasagna using a chaffle? So you know what? I'm really excited for this, so let's go ahead and get into the recipe. To start, we're going to dice a quarter of a yellow onion. A red onion would be really good with this, but we're going to be using a yellow onion today. Next, we're going to slice up 3 white mushrooms. You can also do green peppers or red peppers, whatever you prefer, but we're just using onions and mushrooms today. Now it's time to prep our chaffle. First thing we're going to do is add 2 large eggs to a bowl. Then we're just going to take our fork and give it a really good mix. And to that we're going to add a pinch of our seasonings, starting with salt, pepper, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning. And we're going to take our fork and just combine all the ingredients together. And now it's time to add the cheese. I'm adding 1.5 ounces of shredded mozzarella. You can use Parmesan, Asiago, any other kind of Italian cheese that you like. The choice is really up to you. Now we're just going to take our fork and again combine the cheese with the egg mixture. And then we're just going to set it aside and let all the flavors meld together. Now in a frying pan, we're going to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And to that, we're just going to add our sliced onions. We're not going to add our mushrooms yet because we do want our onions to become soft and translucent first. Then once the onions are cooked, go ahead and add the mushrooms and just keep moving them around. Since mushrooms do have a high water content, they will cook relatively fast and shrink in size. And once your onions and mushrooms are cooked, go ahead and add your hamburger. I use a 1/3 pound patty that I pre-portion ahead of time, because that way I find it easier to just make a hamburger or add it to a recipe like this. But if you don't have your patties pre-made, then go ahead and just use 4 to 5 ounces of hamburger. And once you've roughly chopped up your hamburger meat, go ahead and season it with salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, and dried parsley flakes. Now I like to add a couple tablespoons of water to the hamburger. That way it'll help rehydrate the dried seasonings and also help break up the hamburger and any connective tissue or fat that are in the meat. It will also help give you finer pieces of ground hamburger. Then I'm just going to add a lid to the pan to help trap the moisture and keep the steam inside to help rehydrate those seasonings and also help break down that meat. And this right here is what you want your hamburger and your vegetables to look like. Once you do that, just go ahead and place the lid on it, turn your heat off, and just let it rest. Now it was at this point of the video when I realized that my camera was not recording, so you know what? Through the power of magic and editing, I give you our first chaffle. And once your first chaffle is done, go ahead and carefully remove it from your waffle maker and set it off to the side. Then we're going to take the remainder of our mixture and spread it evenly throughout our waffle maker. Close the lid for about 3 minutes and it should be done. Now we don't want these to be too done because we want them to be soft, kind of like noodles. So make sure that you don't cook them for too long. Now we're going to take our hamburger and vegetable mixture that has been resting and we're going to place them in a bowl. Make sure that you drain a little bit of the grease off of it. And to that we're going to add 2 tablespoons of marinara sauce or pizza sauce in my case, and a 1/4 cup of ricotta cheese. And take your spoon and just give it a really good mix, making sure that you break up all the ricotta and spread it evenly throughout the mixture. And once all the ingredients are combined, it's time to start layering our lasagna. We're going to start by laying our first 2 chaffles in the bottom of the pan, and we're going to spoon on half of our meat, cheese, and sauce mixture. Then just take your spoon and spread it evenly across your chaffles. Then we're going to take 1/8 of a cup of our sauce and just go ahead and spread it evenly across your chaffles. And then you're just going to take a handful of mozzarella cheese and just spread it evenly across that layer. Then go ahead and take your next 2 chaffles and just repeat the process until you've used all the ingredients and they've matched the bottom layer. Now on the top, I like to add a pinch of dried parsley, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water. Then I'm going to cover it with a lid to create steam, which will help melt the cheese and make it nice and gooey like a lasagna should be. Now how good does that look? It looks like a lasagna to me. Now let's see how it tastes and see if it passes as a lasagna. Oh, it's so good. Can't even really tell that it's a chaffle. I mean, it's a little bit thicker than a pasta noodle, which is fine. You know, it's a little fluffy and airy. But you know what? It tastes really good. Now, if you want it to be a little more stringy instead of fluffy, I would up the cheese maybe to 2 ounces for the 2 eggs instead of 1.5 ounces like I did. But this is really good. Now, the one thing that I would recommend that I do with most of my lasagnas is I make them the day ahead, and then I let them sit in the fridge for either, you know, several hours or overnight, because what's going to happen is all of those flavors are just going to combine, and then when you make it the next day, when you bake it in the oven, it all just comes together. Now, this was a quick recipe. This was you know, a pan recipe, so, you know, I mean, yes, I could have made it and then reheated it in the oven or a pan the next day, but the whole point of this was to make a really quick meal, a quick lasagna. Now, this turned out really good as it is, without letting it, you know, sit and rest in the fridge, like I said. But you know what? If you wanted to, like I'm going to show you, actually right now, I'll show you a clip of the one that I'm going to make for the family. It was a really big on-taking, so that's why I didn't do it, because I want to show you a really quick way to do it. So I'll show you that end result right now. This was cooked at 350 degrees for 30 minutes covered, and then another 15 minutes uncovered. Now all I did for that is I took this and then I just scaled it up for how many portions and servings that I wanted. Now what I made here in this pan was 2 servings. So I just figured out how many I wanted and just did the math on it. So very simple, very easy, because everything is nice and even and you just go from there. Now, this right here, very good. I would definitely give it my seal of approval as far as a lasagna Italian dish. It's beautiful. So go ahead, you know, leave your comments down below and requests. I may not get to them right away, but I do read all the comments. So if you have any suggestions that you want me to try to make, I'll do my best to do it. But I do answer and respond to all comments. So if you have any comments, questions, or criticisms, feel free to leave it down below. And make sure that you have subscribed and turn on the bell notification so you know when I make more beautiful dishes like this and other recipes. Until then, thank you for stopping by, stay awesome, and I'll see you soon.